Hello and welcome to day 3 of the Music Theory Challenge, where every day we're learning something new about music theory. Now in day 1 we learned the musical alphabet, and in day 2 we learned how to draw a music keyboard, or piano keyboard. So make sure that you have your drawing of the piano keyboard because we need that for today's class. In today's class we're going to learn about whole steps and half steps. And for that we need to use the keyboard we drew yesterday. And we're going to start with the C major scale. So go ahead and somewhere on your paper write C major scale. C major scale. And that's what we have here. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Now from C to D, that's called a whole step because we have to go through 2 half steps to get there. Half step being the black key, and then landing on the next half step, that's the D. So from C to D, we have a whole step. So I'm going to write W for whole. Actually, that may be a little too big. I'm going to write it over here, down here, between the notes. Between C and D, we have a whole step. Now from D to E, we have a whole step again. The black key and the actual E key. So that's a whole step. Now be careful here. From E to F, we have a half step because we don't have a black key in between. So in between those two, give me an H for half. Now let's go F to G. What is that? Well, that's a whole step because we have a black key in between. Whole step. And then G to A, well, we have 2 half steps. 2 halves equal 1 whole. Between A to B, we have a whole step because we have 2 keys. And to finish the scale, what do we have? From B to C, half. So for today's lesson, I would like you to memorize this pattern. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. This pattern is going to be our foundation for learning all of the major scales that we will need. And learning your scales is going to be great for learning chords and other things in the future, especially our circle of fifths. But it all starts with memorizing this pattern. So whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. And understanding why there is a whole step. Well, because there's 2 keys with the whole steps. Whereas with the half steps, there's only 1 key. They're adjacent or next to each other. So learning that is going to be vital. So if I gave you a piano keyboard without the key under it, I would want you to be able to tell me what are the steps between C and D and E. And I would want you to be able to fill it in like this. If you are able to fill in which ones of these are whole steps and which ones are half steps, or if I were to ask you, is the space between G to A a whole step or a half step, I would want you to know that it's a whole step. So memorize this here. This is called the major scale. You can call it spacing. We'll use the word interval in the future. But if you memorize the major scale pattern, let's use that word, the major scale pattern, then tomorrow's class is going to be super easy. So there you have it. And if you would like to download a PDF of everything that we're learning in all of these classes, you can join Patreon. The Patreon members already have it on their feed. Or you can download it at the link down below. Now get ready for a screenshot. And there you have it. I'll see you in tomorrow's lesson. Ciao!